Welcome back to a new episode of Judgment Free Zone. I want to get right into it and say that I can't even explain over the last few weeks what I've been processing, what I am working through myself. This whole idea and shift of changing the podcast has really helped me in my healing. I've been questioning a lot what is forgiveness, what is being able to sit with someone in accountability and taking ownership of our part, and what that's going to look like moving forward with this podcast, and the excitement that what this really can give. And my hope ultimately is, that others are gonna want to sit here and have those healing conversations. I think the thing is, we're in all of our stories, we are the hero or villain. And I am the villain in some people's stories, but I also can't, I would hope that others are wanting to sit and work through their stuff too, because at the end of the day, we're only hurting ourselves by not having the connection we really desire with people. When we're hurtful or mean or holding resentment or having anger, what is that doing to us? And this thought of around this is really like, I didn't realize how much anger I do have and how much resentment I am holding on to myself. And so, whether people decide to come on or not, the goal here is that I'm going to create it to be a healing journey for me regardless. This will be healing for me, and it already is. Like I said, the last couple of weeks I've sat here and really pondered these thoughts and ideas, and I have notes upon notes of things that I literally am writing down, and my brain is swirling, even trying to talk to you about all of these things. There's some words that have been sticking out to me. So forgiveness, resentment, anguish, justice, anger. How do we forgive people when people are still doing things to hurt you? How do you deal with the pain people still continue to cause without holding resentment? How do we correctly have boundaries that are not to control but are to protect us? Why do we forgive someone who has wronged us? I think that these are all the questions that I hope we continue to get curious about and question within ourselves as I question it with myself. I started to create a list of people who I realized I was still angry with and was holding on. And I plan to do something about it. Like, I'm not just going to sit on it. I'm not just writing out these names. I'm not sure how I'm going to handle it for each person. Again, it's a process, right? But that's what I'm trying to do in this podcast is I want to debunk things. Brene Brown talks about having common enemy intimacy, and it's not real connection. It's when we hear, right? We have so many times in society where somebody hates someone or talks about something and we're like, oh yeah, we agree with it, and we get angry about it and we're like passionate about it and whatever. She talks about how if we're close to this, though, it's harder to hate them or not like them. if they're close. But when we create these circles where we just feel like we're connecting with someone, I mean, I've had these situations happen in my life before where, you know, as girls, you sit and you talk about somebody that you don't like, and then you feel like you're connecting, and really it's not. It's the common enemy intimacy, that we both hate the same person or don't like the same person, and so we bond over it. And that's not real connection. And so that's why I feel like this shift can be so great, because yes, I share my stories, and yes, I have my stories and my hurts and the things that I will continue to work through, right? And also these people have stories too. And as I said, like, we're the villain. I'm mixing villain and hero. We're the villain or hero in others' stories. And I want to do my best to work through my own hurts from others. And hopefully others are going to want to work through their hurts with me. And because, again, it's all about healing. It's all about progressing and creating that space that we don't have to be perfect, that we can. I say this to my clients and I say this to my kids, right? Like, not everybody's going to like you, and I'm not going to like everybody. That doesn't mean that we're not worthy of love. We're not worthy of belonging. And I think that that's where the common ground is that we both are worthy and we're both on this journey. And how can we create and do this and find healing and peace within both of ourselves, whatever the situation is? And that's really what I want. And so, yeah, so that's it. I also say to my kids, like, where are we giving away our power? You'll hear me say this a lot on my page, my Instagram page, right? Like, where are we giving away our power? And this is a big one. This is one I didn't realize was so big for me, was the anguish, the pain that I went through, the deep hopelessness, and the hurt that has caused me. Where am I holding on to that? And I want to set it free for me and for them. Because when we forgive others too, it creates more forgiveness and more healing. And that is the hope. That is the desire. I also have said, resentment is just, or expectations are just premeditated resentments, and questioning, where have I had those moments in my life where I expected something, even on a day-to-day. Sometimes in little ways that I'm like, oh, it's going to be a good day with the kids, right? And then something goes wrong, and it's like, oh, dang, I didn't realize I was expecting something to go a certain way, and then it didn't. And like, what happened? So that's what this is going to be. This is going to be, whether people come on or not, you're going to walk through, watching me walk through the process of forgiving. I went to that event in Austin a couple weeks ago, and I did not realize how the two things that got brought up for me that were really interesting was, there was a woman that reminded me of my mom in the room, very like charismatic and like just very out there, which reminded me immediately of my mom. Like, I was annoyed and frustrated. And right next to her was a mom and daughter, and they came together. And I was looking at this as I'm sitting across from them, and the daughter is in the mom's lap, and the mom is just like brushing her hair. And I was like, what the fuck like, this is, that's all I've ever wanted. And that's what I had. And this interesting how it was there for me, right? All of this is happening for me, not to me. And as I am going into this, Drea came over in breath work and put her hand on me, and I just like laid into her, and I just bawled for the mom that I always wanted. And she came around and held me. And earlier in the session, the thought came to me to forgive my brother. And honestly, I really did not realize that I hadn't. And it was kind of like, oh, well, that's there. And I kept saying, like, I remember before even my brother kind of came into my mind, I kept saying, like, just let it go. Like, let go. Like, you don't even want this control. And it was like, I just still couldn't. And I kept saying it to myself, like, Abigail, like, let go of the control. You don't even want it. Let go. Like, why can't you let this go? And then my brother came to my mind, and it was like, forgive your brother. And I couldn't. And it came back to me, forgive your brother. And I was like, I can't. And I was just so angry. Just felt so much anger. It's really interesting, though. Again, everything's happening for you, not to you. Today's his birthday. And I had the thought to message him and just say happy birthday, and, talked about it with my husband, like, what's my motive? And I mean, my motive is, as the 2 weeks have gone since being and having these things come up, is really like to forgive, right? Like, but again, like I said at the beginning of this, like, what is forgiveness? And creating those boundaries still with being able to forgive and know that someone hurt you, being able to hold both of those spaces for yourself and others, and knowing that you hurt them too. And so the motive is for me to forgive. And not that I want to necessarily, like, in this moment, create space for more. Again, I think the creating space for more is the forgiveness right now, is working through that. I think that was something that I keep stepping into. I keep stepping into these places of courage and vulnerability and being who I wanted to see. Because I know that there's others out there that want to see this. How do we walk through these things in pain? How do we learn from them? How are we vulnerable and create this space with one another? And over again, it comes back to creating a better world for all of us. When I was a kid, I wanted to change the world. And as we have these dreams on our hearts, sometimes they start to dim, or the noises get really loud. And every once in a while, as I was getting older, it would kind of come in, right? Like this little spark that, no, I really do want to change the world. I always had a really big heart for the world. feeling their pain and my pain as the years went brightened for a moment. And that hope is there from my pain, that we can change the world. And without pain, we can't have joy. Without hurt, we can't find peace. And by being able to walk through it openly with you, I hope that you can see that it's okay to be in this place too, that we can walk through these hard moments and that we can do it and choose courage over comfort. Because at the end of the day, we are already uncomfortable in different situations. We're just used to it. That is our comfort, is that uncomfortability. And if it's not working, then let's choose something different and be uncomfortable walking through it. Let's stop being in this space and giving away our power. And each moment there were things, right, that I didn't know a year ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, that slowly start to show, slowly start to show itself and come up, that I can work through. So with that, I ask you to give yourself compassion for wherever you're at. Give yourself compassion for being angry. Have you let yourself be angry? Have you let yourself be sad? There was a time when I started to deal with a lot of these things that I've talked about that I didn't even know what I was feeling in a moment. To be able to feel is to be alive. And I, in that moment, just had so much shame. And when we're able to start to feel, we're able to start to have that compassion for ourselves. And when we're in a place where we can have compassion for ourselves, that's when we can start to forgive and take accountability and be able to go, I did hurt you, because it doesn't mean that I am that. It means that I hurt someone and I get the opportunity to change or reflect or hear somebody and what they have to say. It doesn't mean that I'm unworthy, but if I'm not in a place where I can have that shame resilience, then I'm not going to be able to, because I'm going to go right back into shame when someone's mad at me. I'm going to want to get defensive. So that's what I am asking of you, is lay the foundation of self-compassion. Don't beat yourself up. We are all on this journey of life. Lay the foundation of self-compassion. Can you give yourself some forgiveness? Can you give yourself some love and acceptance? Give yourself that. Allow yourself to feel angry or sad. Allow yourself to be in community. We need to rewrite these beliefs in community to be able to start to then shine our light and give back. And then when we're able to do that, rewrite, to feel those things, to have that knowledge, we can then go and forgive. And that's where I'm at now. So, thank you for being on this journey with me. I am excited to continue to watch it unfold as it literally does day by day. I feel very enlightened and excited about forgiveness. It feels scary. It feels like I don't know where I'm going currently. And again, I think that that's all part of it, is knowing that I'm being led, and to trust and surrender to this process of knowing that I am whole, I am loved, I am worthy, and being able to walk in that every step of the way. And my hope is that we all can feel that way. So I hope is the word of the day, that I'd love to hear what you're working through, whether it's forgiveness or not. What are you working through? What are you hoping to gain or see from these episodes that begin to unfold? Let me know. I'm really curious. I'm really excited about starting this, or as we have already started this journey. And yeah, I have a podcast recording this. Well, when I release this episode, it'll be tomorrow. And I think it's going to be really good. So I know it's going to be good. I'm excited about it. So I hope you have a beautiful week. When this is released, it'll be midweek. So I hope that hump day is great for you. And I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. All right. Have a great day.